it's been a real inspiration to me because I want my own talk show.
Great.
Nightly talk show, because I think that'll make me happy like it made you happy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it will. Yeah, good luck on that.
Okay.
Make you happy.
In today's world, chasing a material goal is the central purpose in many people's lives. If only I had that dream job, if only I got that new car, if only I was famous, then I'd find happiness. This way of thinking stems from the philosophical liberal worldview. I don't mean liberal in the political sense. Basically, if the way you live your life is to do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anyone, then you've accepted philosophical liberalism as a worldview. Now, how does this manifest itself in reality? Well, this is probably best exemplified by modern pop culture. Rapping, movies, music, consume, 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 consume. Is this necessarily a bad thing? Surely if I fulfill my desire, then I'll be happy, right? Well, let's take a look at the law of diminishing marginal utility within the field of economics, which states, the marginal utility from each additional unit declines as consumption increases. In layman's terms, the more you consume, the less pleasure you get. Think back to the first time you watched a film in a cinema versus now. The lights, the smell of the popcorn, the atmosphere. It was probably an amazing experience. But now, after seeing so many films, it's become almost tedious. The same could be applied to anything you consume on a regular basis. Your favorite video game isn't as fun as it used to be. Perhaps the same could be said about watching videos on YouTube, listening to music, or whatever else it might be. You get the point. There's just no fulfillment in it anymore, or at least not as much as there once was. Not only this, but now that very desire that gives you almost no pleasure is something that you are totally dependent on. You've become enslaved to what you thought gave you freedom. Let's go back to the definition given earlier for philosophical liberalism. Do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anyone. This holds the assumption that the entire purpose of your existence is to do whatever you want, i.e. to fulfill your desires. The fulfillment and pleasure you get from doing what you want decreases over time, as seen when we looked at the law of diminishing marginal utility. If this is the case, then it follows that the very meaning of your purpose in life decreases as well. Given enough time, life itself can become meaningless. The joyful, curious person you once were is gone, and left behind is a hollow husk. Inside is almost totally empty, except for a deep sadness in your soul, which is crying out for help. The effects of this in today's society is catastrophic. Suicide rates are on the increase, as is depression and anxiety. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "The hour will not be established till a man, when passing by a grave of someone, will say, 'Would that I were in his place.'" It almost feels as if it's hopeless, and there is no escape. But there is. If everything in this world, this universe, can't fulfill you, then maybe it's time to look beyond it, to the divine. It's time to change the purpose of your life from do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anyone, i.e. philosophical liberalism, to submit and worship God, i.e. Islam, which in English means submission. As discussed, the first statement initially seems like freedom, but eventually it leads to slavery, to the material, to desire. The second statement initially seems like slavery to God, and it is. But this is true freedom from the material world, from desire. No longer are you controlled by desire, or in Arabic your nafs. Rather, you gain control over it, and withhold from it when necessary to devote yourself to Allah. If we look back at the graph of the law of diminishing marginal utility, you can see the decrease of fulfillment over time. If we compare this to the concept of Iman, or faith, we can see that faith will go up and down dependent on the effort you are putting in to have that connection with Allah. Now, be honest with yourself. You've tried following your desire. There's probably several things I said in this video that struck a nerve. You've walked down that road. You and I both know where it leads. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If this problem of living a meaningless life and having a void in your soul due to nothing but consumption is something you feel is true from your own lived experience, then perhaps it's time to try something new. I can describe to you the taste of an apple, its sourness, the crunchy texture, but unfortunately, you won't truly know the experience until you've taken a bite. Similarly, I can describe the benefits of the Islamic way of life, but unless you walk this path, you won't experience the true fulfillment and gratification it has to offer. This isn't even bringing into consideration the next life. I hope this video has helped to put words to what you've been feeling for some time now. Please do think upon what I've said and take Islam into consideration. To end, I'd like to quote Surah Ar-Ra'd.
الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Those who have faith and whose hearts find peace in the remembrance of God. Truly it is in the remembrance of God that hearts find peace.